Tzedakah, a special auspicious day as Chav Beis Shevat, the 22nd day of Shevat. Chav Beis, which refer also to the 22 Hebrew letters of the Aleph Beis, which the Torah was given in the parsha of this week. B'cha is also blessings. B'cha Yavarch Yisrael, with you, through those letters, the Jewish people will be blessed, are blessed, and it is today the Yortzeit, the Hilula of the Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka. We're in the year Shnas Tismach Tavshim Ches, 1988. On this day, the Rebbetzin left physically this world. Now, describing the Rebbetzin is just about impossible, because she was such a discreet woman that we know very little of her. But of the few little tidbits that we do know, we can see what a special woman she was. At a number of important, or I would say pivotal moments within Chabad, within the Rebbe, within the world, she was there, and she played a extremely important role. Just bring a few examples. When her late father, the Frierdiker Rebbe, was arrested by the KGB in Russia in 1927, she was home, and suddenly she noticed from the window that the Rebbe, her chassan, they were engaged then, was coming towards the house. Now, if he would come into the house, it would be a danger for him, and who knows what would have happened. So she went to the window, and she kind of very nicely said, "We're having guests. Shneyasan, we're having guests." The Rebbe immediately realized what they're talking about, what this is all about, and immediately he ran to a number of important helpers, secretaries to the Frierdiker Rebbe, for them immediately to hide all the documents that they could be incriminating to the Frierdiker Rebbe. And indeed, he saved their lives, some of them at least, and the many, many documents were quickly taken care of so as not to incriminate the previous Rebbe. Later on, after the passing of her father, where Chassidim were begging for an entire year for the Rebbe to accept the leadership position, and the Rebbe refused. He said, "Not me. Not for me." Eventually, the Rebbetzin told the Rebbe, "If you are not taking it, all that has been done until now, the Mesiras Nefesh, the self-sacrifice that my father had to perpetuate Chassidus, to save the Jewish community, will be in vain. You can't let this happen." This was the final convincing moment, apparently, where the Rebbe finally accepted the leadership. In other words, it is the Rebbetzin that made sure that we should have a Rebbe. Later on, when this unfortunate situation where the Rebbe had to, Chabad, I should say, the movement had to go to court to recoup the books of the library which was stolen, which was a very, very difficult, a very challenging moment for the Rebbe personally, for the whole Chabad movement in general. During these lengthy court deliberations, there was a delegation that came from the court, from the judge, to the Rebbetzin to question her. Hours and hours. And when the lawyers asked the Rebbe, should we prepare her, should she have? So the Rebbe said, she knows what to answer. Trust her. After hours of questioning her, and the opponents didn't get what they want, finally the lawyer says, "Tell me, to who does the books belong? Personally or to the movement?" the Rebbetzin forcefully said, the Rebbe and his books belong to Chassidim. In other words, when she encouraged the Rebbe to become Rebbe, she knew that she's giving up her husband for the Chassidim, for the world. She didn't do it for her own honors because she didn't get any honors. She was such a discreet woman. Very few people even knew her. Very few people knew what she looked like. She sacrificed her life for the well-being of Klal Yisrael.
All right. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for that today. Again, more all right, chapters 23 and 122. Let's go.
Adonai ro'i lo echsar binus teshe yarbitzeni al memnuchos yinahaleni nafshi shovev yancheni v'magle tzedek leman shemo kam kilech begetz al moves lo yirara ki ata imadi shivtecha umishantecha hema yenachamuni Taroch lefanai shulchan neged torerai tishanta vashemen roshi kosi levaya ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai v'shavti b'vis Adonai le'orech yamim.
Shamala Yisro v'samachti v'yimlimni v'salino yinei oyim doiso yura v'leinu b'shara Yerushalayim havenuya ki shechura lo yachdav sheshamu shotim shiftei ha'edus l'Yisrael lehoyidayis l'shayim aleinu Shama Yashavu Chizais Mishvat Kisais Levayis David Shalu Shalayim Yerushalayim Yishrayu Ayhavayich Ahai Yishalayim Michaelech Shava V'ayvena Yisayich Ahai
Tanya.
All right. Are you ready for this one? Tanya for today.
Tanya thoughts for the 22nd of Shevat. Is it ever okay to be sad? Handle with caution. When it comes to my divine shortcomings, there can be value in being disappointed in myself, because that sadness is not about what I didn't get, it's about what others or even Hashem didn't get for me. And that is so sad for them. How do you know the healthy sadness from the harmful? The Tanya presents a checklist. 1, you have initiated it, so it is controlled. It doesn't sneak up on you. 2, it's concerned with the other, not the self. Not what I didn't do, but what others didn't get from me. 3, it motivates us to action. 4, it encourages simcha. If it doesn't, avoid it.
Let's talk Tanya for the 22nd of Shevat of a leap year. So in yesterday's Tanya, we're speaking about what happens when we study Torah, the incredible unity with God that happens when we study Torah. Because after all, what is Torah? Torah is the Pnimius HaRatzon, the internal element of God's will, where God is completely 100% revealed. And when we learn Torah, we are understanding, processing it. It becomes part of us. This is the ultimate unity possible that we can have with God. Now, this level of godliness, of divinity with which we are connecting when we're studying Torah is higher than the energy which is present, the natural divine energy that's present in our world. In fact, it's higher than the divine energy that's even present in the higher worlds. After all the energy in all the worlds is Chitzonius HaRatzon. Ultimately, even the higher worlds also, they don't constitute God's internal will. Torah is God's internal will. So this is an energy which is above all the worlds. In fact, the verse tells us, Kulam bechachma asisa, that everything that God created was with God's wisdom. And what is God's wisdom? Is the Torah. So Torah is the source of all the worlds. And the energy, the divinity which is in Torah, the light, the divine light that's in Torah is so amazing and so strong and so intense that it can't be revealed in the higher worlds, because if it would be revealed in the higher worlds, the creations in the higher worlds, the angels, they wouldn't be able to tolerate, they wouldn't be able to handle that level of revelation. And yet we're studying Torah and we're able to tolerate it. And the reason why, I guess this is where our lowliness comes to our advantage, because we're studying the Torah and we're clueless. To use an example that I think I've given once before in Let's Talk Tanya, you go to the Louvre and you have all of this, the people that are walking by the Mona Lisa and everyone's oohing and eyeing. Either they appreciate the art, they don't appreciate the art. And even if they don't appreciate the art, they're still awed because they know this is the most, famous piece of art in the world. And then a person walks along and he has his dog with him, his poodle. And the dog looks up the Mona Lisa. It's not impressed at all because it's a dog. We're like that dog looking at the Mona Lisa. We're learning Torah. We are clueless. We have no understanding, no perception. We're so insensitive. We don't get what's going on. But that doesn't change the reality. The reality is that when we're studying Torah, we are right now becoming absolutely one with this most amazing, incredible, awesome divine light, something which the higher worlds can't even tolerate. How does this impact our actual Torah study when we're learning Torah? That we will find out, God willing, in tomorrow's Tanya.
All right, and that takes us to Sefer HaMitzvos of the Rambam.
No, it's not impossible that Eved would say, just study Rambam each and every day. I'll never miss my daily Rambam. My Rebbe so desires, I'm not busy or too tired. When I learn Rambam's connected, I remain, I am a link in the Rebbe's golden chain.
All right, are you ready? All right, here we go.
Baruch Hashem, it is day number 285 of our daily study of Rambam Sefer HaMitzvos. And in the 3 chapters a day study track of Mishnah Torah, we're starting a new section of laws. We actually finished yesterday Hilchas Shluchim V'Shutfin, the laws of emissaries and partners. Today we're starting a new section, which is actually the final section of the book, what we call Sefer Kinyan, which literally means acquisitions. As you know, we've been studying this for many weeks, and it's about buying and selling, commerce, how to take ownership of property. So the final section of Sefer Kinyan is called Hilchas Avodim, which literally means the laws of servants. Now, this is very, very unfamiliar to us in this day and age. We live in a world where, thankfully, the entire concept of not only slavery, but indentured servitude is considered unacceptable. So it does not exist in our day and age. However, in the ancient world, it was part of life, and the Torah governed how this institution could be carried out. So as hard as it is for us to relate to these laws, they are mitzvahs from the 613 mitzvahs, and we're going to study them. Okay. So here we go, the laws of Hilchas Avodim, the laws of servants. And the first bunch of mitzvahs that we're going to learn today apply to something, a concept or status known as the Eved Ivri, which literally means the Hebrew manservant. So let's go through this. Positive commandment 232 is the mitzvah to follow the Torah's laws regarding the Eved Ivri, regarding the Hebrew manservant. That's a Jew who was sold into indentured servitude. I'm calling it that as opposed to slavery. As you'll hear as we continue through the mitzvahs, what this status is, but basically he serves for 6 years. He goes free in the 7th. Okay, negative commandment 258 is the prohibition against selling said Hebrew manservant in a public way, meaning in like a public auction. It has to be done discreetly, which is out of respect for his feelings. Negative commandment 259, again, out of respect for the Hebrew manservant's feelings, you cannot order him to do unnecessary work. You can't just say, well, I got this servant here. I mean, he's not doing anything. Just give him some stuff to do, even though I don't need to do it. The example they say is, don't tell him, go heat up some water for me, and you don't even need it. You just want to keep him busy. You can't give him pointless work. Negative commandment 257 is not to give him, I'll call it denigrating work or humiliating work. You have to give him regular tasks that are jobs. Just the only difference is he doesn't do his job and then get a paycheck and take it home and spend it however he wants. He is doing the job for the master, and the master is getting the benefit from the labor. Negative commandment 260 is not to allow a ger toshav to force an Eved Ivri to do unnecessary work. Okay, I used Hebrew terms because translating it is not that helpful. I'll translate it. A ger toshav is a resident alien, and Eved Ivri, you know, is the Hebrew manservant. What is a resident alien? It is a non-Jew who lives in the land of Israel, and he lives under the protection of this is when the temple is standing and there is Jewish law enforced in the land of Israel. So there is a status called a resident alien. He's a non-Jew. He's not Jewish. He does not accept Judaism. He doesn't have to accept Judaism, but he practices and adheres to the moral code of the 7 Noahide laws. Okay? And as such, he lives under the protection of the Jewish authority, but also he has to follow the rules of the Jewish authority. And one of the things is it's a mitzvah for us, for the Jews, not to allow a ger toshav to force an Eved Ivri to do humiliating labor. In other words, not only a Jew is not allowed to force an Eved Ivri to do humiliating labor, but a Jew is not allowed to allow a resident alien, a non-Jewish resident alien, to force a Hebrew manservant to do humiliating labor. Now, obviously, when is this applicable? First of all, only when there are Hebrew manservants, which is not today. It's only when the temple stood. Also, only when there was a concept of a ger toshav, of a resident alien, which again is only in the times of the temple or when the Yovel, when the Jubilee year was operational. So we're talking about something that really hasn't been applicable in a couple of thousand years. But this is the system that Torah set up, and that's why we study it. Okay, those are our mitzvahs for today, and we will see you for more tomorrow, God willing.
Today we begin to learn the final set of laws in the Rambam's 12th book, the laws which pertain to acquiring servants. And we start with the mitzvahs pertaining to an Eved Ivri, the Jewish servant. Positive mitzvah 232 is that we follow the Torah's general guidelines when it comes to the Hebrew servant, which is that we buy him, we own him for 6 years, and in the 7th year he goes free. Negative mitzvah 258, we're not allowed to sell Jewish servants in the same way that other servants would be sold. In other words, announcing them loudly in the market and thereby embarrassing them. Negative mitzvah 259, we're not allowed to make an Eved Ivri, a Jewish servant, perform useless tasks. For example, to tell him to heat up a cup of water when we don't plan to drink it. Negative mitzvah 257, it's forbidden to have an Eved Ivri, a Jewish servant, do menial tasks or things that would usually be reserved for lower level slaves, like carrying a person's clothes behind them to the bathhouse or tying his shoes and the like. Negative mitzvah 260 is a prohibition which says that if a Jew knows that another Jew has been sold to a non-Jew, we're forbidden to allow that non-Jew to make his Eved Ivri, his Jewish servant, perform those useless and difficult tasks.
Okay. And that takes us to matters of Mashiach. Today marks the anniversary of the passing of the Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka, the Rebbe's wife and the daughter of the previous Rebbe. The Rebbe explained the connection between his wife's name, Chaya Mushka, and Mashiach. The name Chaya means life, which symbolizes the vitality and that the soul infuses in the body. The word Mushka means a myrrh, a fragrant spice, and this represents the essence of the soul that transcends the body, because the pleasant aroma delights the soul's senses, yet provides no nourishment for the body. The union of these two words in the name of one person symbolizes the completion of our efforts to unite the essence of our soul with the body. And that means that our soul's pleasure in Hashem's sweetness must not remain aloof from our mundane lives. Instead, the pleasure needs to become our life's passion and focus to beyond our physical needs. We must enjoy our Jewishness to the fullest, and by filling our lives with Jewish joy and beauty, we carry on the legacy of the Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka and begin to live the life of Mashiach. And we are going to go today right to our bringing heaven down to earth. All right. Did this one. If you believe that you're an angel, prepare for disappointment. If you believe you're a beast, you could become depressed. Best to know that you're just human. Stay away from situations you can't handle, and when you fail, pick yourself up, say, I'm sorry, and continue onward. And that will bring you to a level even higher than the angels. There you go. Talk about it more on social media with me. Any of the Active Rabbis groups at Clubhouse or Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube, theactiverabbi.com, where you can sign up for life coaching services. You know all about it. Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam boirei nefashos rabois v'chesreinan al kol ma sheborosa lachayos bohem nefesh kol chai boruch chai ha'olamim. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry for the thank you to my Patreons, Vespo Ridal, Tarzay Norkitz, Dina D Design, Bracha Biederman, Office, Bezin Mustavi, yeah, you can do that too if you want to. I won't tell anybody. All right. See, I can keep a secret. Patreon.com/actorsrabbi or breakfastwithelli.live/new computer. Listen, guys, even if you can only contribute $1 or $5 or whatever it is, but if you contribute, $500 or $1,000, that's even better. If you know somebody that would like to sponsor the new computer, I'm game. I put my heart out to you every single day. I've been doing it for 4+ years now, and we just need to continue. And in order to continue, I need to upgrade. So if you want to help out, breakfastwithelli.live/new computer. And we will appreciate it. All right, Avram Fried's got a new song for you today. Lam Natseach. Is that it? Oh, no, Lenetzach. Sorry about that. Glasses, right? Lenetzach, it's called. Victorious. All right. Thank you for being here. It is Thursday. It is Chaf Beis Shvat. The Rebbetzin Yahrtzeit. Do something special in the name of the Rebbetzin Chayamushka. We'll talk more about her tomorrow. I'm going to leave this up, and we're going to talk more about her tomorrow, okay? All right. Make it a great and glorious day. In the words of Rabbi Isaac Hamler, have affection for a fellow. Hashem will have affection for you. Do a kindness for a fellow. Hashem will do a kindness for you.
Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe Lamer, Daber el Aaron ve'el Bonav Lamer, Koise Varuchu es bnei Yisrael Amer Lahem, Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha, Yo'er Adonai pano ve'lecha v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai pano ve'lecha, v'yasem lecha shalom, Zamu et shmi al bnei Yisrael v'ani avarachem. Zchut avot yagin aleinu